What's going on YouTube? I'm gonna keep this one short and simple. Um, as we know, as we all know actually, there are certain careers that women can get into that still allow for them to be that sort of wife and or mother that a man typically wants. That's why, like I said before, I prefer women that are into, teaching, nursing, that sort of area, because it allows for them to have the profession so they can scratch that professional itch. But then at the same time, it still allows for them to be the sort of wife and mother that I want to see, right? Because that's how I grew up. I watched my mom and my aunts, have their career, okay? So they're able to go off to school. If they wanted to get the master's degree, they could. But at the same time, they were still that sort of traditional mother and wife, okay? That whole Claire Huxtable. The only real knock on the show was that the fact that she was a lawyer, that was kind of unrealistic. Had she been like a teacher or like a nurse, right, I think that would have been more so accurate. But in terms of the life of a lawyer, the nature of that job is kind of incongruent with the whole I have 5 kids and whatnot. That doesn't apply. Maybe it did back in that time, but now that's very unrealistic once you consider schooling and law school. Like, where could you find the time to have, how many kids did she have? Was it 6? No. Yeah. No, 5. Yeah, it was 5 kids. 1 boy, 4 girls. How could you find the time to do all that? And have a husband who's in, who went to med school, right? And as we all know, just because you become a doctor, it doesn't mean that you instantly become Bill Cosby. It takes a while before you get to that Bill Cosby sort of level where you have your own private practice. So that was somewhat unrealistic. But there are certain careers that women can choose that do not allow them to be that sort of mother, wife that men are looking for because of the nature of the job. It is what it is. Every occupation has a lifestyle that comes with it, whether we like it or not. That's why it's important for you, the younger people, to also understand the lifestyle. It's like somebody who wants to come on and say, I want to be Puff Daddy, but at the same time, I want to be this sort of soccer dad who can coach his son's soccer team during the week, or I can coach my daughter's softball league team or whatnot. It's not going to work that way. The job that you chose, the career that you chose, doesn't lend itself for you to be that sort of traditional father and or husband. So you have to understand that. So for women, especially black women, you have to look at that. Oftentimes you guys will make career choices, which is fine by itself, but you won't look at the lifestyle that comes with it. But men do. We do. We look at what you do for a living and we're like, that's great and all, but you don't really have the time, right? You really don't. Especially if you're looking way too late, right? A lot of times black women will come on and talk about how it's okay for other groups of women to be professional and they could have PhDs and this and that and third, and they're married. And what you guys will overlook is the fact that, okay, that same girl got married when she graduated from undergrad, or when she started her master's degrees program, right? She was already locked up. And like I said, I'm in one right now, and every couple of weeks there's one girl that's sending some mass email out about, hey, can you guys send me the notes? I'm on my honeymoon, yada, yada, yada. You guys will throw that out. But that's not the point I want to make. Okay, so if you are a woman, especially a black woman, and you're choosing a career, like I want to be some sort of doctor, I want to be some sort of lawyer, or some sort of career where the linked sort of lifestyle outside of work doesn't lend itself for you to be that sort of traditional woman that man is looking for, right? Mind you, you're a counterpart, so if you're a lawyer and you want the male lawyer, you have to understand that male lawyer isn't looking for the sort of woman that is doing the same thing he's doing. He's looking for the chick who can run his household, take care of his kids. Hence him looking for the secretary or the intern, or he's looking at the waitress at the diner that he goes to after work. That's what he's more so looking at, right? So you have to keep that in mind. But I'm not saying it's a wrap, right? I'm not saying it's a wrap, but you have to understand that you are not presenting the ideal situation, right, for that man, the type of man that you want. So what you have to do is make sure that you are passionate about what you are doing. Because if a man is going to make that sacrifice for you, right, it better be because it's something that you truly want to do. For example, I have two friends. I would say they're friends, but not necessarily closed off to just being friends. Both of them are in law school, right? And they're highly, they're very academic. Their resumes are filled with, upper crust sort of schools and whatnot. And both of them do not present that ideal situation that I would be looking for, or men would be looking for, in terms of the type of men that they are going to want. But here's the difference. One of them is very passionate in regards to what she wants to do with her law degree. Okay? Very passionate in terms of the sort of community that she wants to service, the population that she wants to work for. And as a man, I can't knock the fact that she's passionate about something and she's going after it, right? As much as I may be upset because it's not ideal for me, I can't say I'm going to pass up on you, right? And I know that she's very passionate in regards to what she's trying to do. Because I'm like, okay, if that's your dream, right, I can't in my right mind say that I can't mess with you. It takes a lot for somebody to go after what they're passionate about, right? And if I can help out, I'll help out. So I can't knock her. But the other girl, right, isn't passionate about what she's doing. If you talk to her, so what's going on? Oh, I don't know. I may want to get into corporate law or contract law. I don't really know. This, that, and the third. And there's no passion behind it. And I'm like, sweetie, do you know your career choice? Your career choice is preventing you, right, from being ideal to the man that you are going to want later on. And you can't even prove to him that at least you're passionate in regards to what you're doing. So you're not worth the sacrifice. You're not worth the fact that I have to give up on how I thought my life would be like, right? You're just not worth it because you haven't proved to me that this is something that you're passionate about. You're just doing it just because. You're doing it because lawyers make a lot of good money and, you're going to get the status and the prestige, and that's not cutting it. As opposed to the other girl where it's just like, listen, this is something that I am very passionate about since I was, a little girl. This is something that I always wanted to be, it's something that I always wanted to do, and I have the opportunity to do it, and I can't pass it up. That's very compelling. I'm not saying that it's going to work all the time, but I'm saying that as a man, you would respect that. So even if you did decide to say, hey, I don't think it's going to work, you're going to think long and hard about it before you leave and before you bail, right? I'm more so the type that, man, if you can prove to me that this is what you're passionate about and you've had this in your head for a very long time, I'd have to really sit down and, consider possibly giving up on how I thought that my family would look like. Because once again, the dude is busting his balls so that he can have the home wife that he wanted, right? And no man wants to be told that, hey, I'm sorry you've been working towards something for the last 28, 29 years, but you can't have it. It's not going to work that way. So if you are a female, especially a black female, and you're a professional, understand this, right? The women that you see that may be married and professional more than likely got married earlier on. Yeah, they were into the books, yeah, they were into their careers, but they also understood the whole idea of setting your family up, right? They understood that it's unrealistic to say that as a woman, I'm going to get into my career at 31, 32, then look for the husband who wants to have kids and get married, immediately, right? Secondly, look at the sort of work you're in. Look at your career, look at your industry, look at your occupation. What is your lifestyle? and ask yourself, the sort of man that I'm looking for, what is he going for? Right? Is he checking for me, or quite frankly, is he checking for my secretary, or is he checking for the intern, or is he checking for the girls that work under me? Right? Can I fit into the world that he's trying to create? Right? If I can't, well, I have to be ready to prove I'm worth the sacrifice. I have to be able to prove to him that, listen, I understand that I'm not ideal and I'm not what you thought your life would be, right? But all I can say is this is something that I really want to do, right? I'm passionate about it, and I truly do believe that this makes me, a happier person. And like I said, as a human being, sometimes you can't help but buy into somebody else's dream. It's like, if that makes you happy, then that makes me happy. How can I help you out? Right? It's just like a man who has a big dream and he's actually taking the steps to plan for it, right? And it may not be ideal to the woman, but at least she can come in and say, listen, if this is your dream and it makes you happy, it makes me happy, and I'll support you. Either way, I'm for it, both ways. I'm not more so, only the man can have the big dream and it's only for the woman to support his dream. No, it goes both ways. It truly does. Right? And it's one of those things where, hey, if you have your dream and I have my dream, maybe we can even put them together and have something bigger. Who knows? Right? I'm sure Michelle and Obama, had plenty of conversations about what she wanted to do and her big dreams, and he had his big dreams, and they kind of just came together. Right? So I understand that there's some sort of power in that, but it's on you as the woman to prove that you are passionate about what you are doing. Right? And once again, I'm not saying that it's all professional women, because some of y'all have occupations and careers that automatically still lend for you to be that sort of wife and mother that we're looking for. So you don't really have much work there, but there's some of y'all who have chosen chosen career paths where you have to ask yourself, right, how's it going to work for me? Because I'm really not in an ideal position. Regardless of how cute I am, regardless of my demeanor, I still can't be that sort of woman that he's looking for. So anyways, that's my take. Hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from. Y'all take it easy. God bless.